This is 1480 KRAE Cheyenne.
Also being heard on translator K266CC Cheyenne at 101.1 FM.
It's time for Wyoming Sports Talk today on KRAE. Here are your hosts, Nick and Larry Proetti.
Welcome to Wyoming Sports Talk today, being brought to you by some wonderful local sponsors, Taco John's of Cheyenne. 5 locations to check out Taco John's. Oh, by the way, check them out on your app as well for delivery. Taco John's of Cheyenne, South Greeley Highway, downtown on KRAE Avenue, north side on Yellowstone Road. Hey, to the east of us here, Dell Range and Ridge, and to the south of us, I'd say east-south, you can catch them at Pershing and Ridge as well. Taco John's of Cheyenne, Key of Cheyenne, over on Nation Way, where AJ invites you to come on out to the lot. Okay, they're sanitizing every hour. Got hand sanitizer there for you too. But if you insist on doing things online, you want to kind of still be that hermit, well, go ahead. You can shop for your vehicle, your 2020 Kia, online at kiaofcheyenne.com. And again, they will do the buying, leasing for you. They'll set up payments, money down. Matter of fact, they'll even do sight unseen your trade-in with Kelly Blue Book Value. All you do is follow the prompts online. Me personally, I'm going out to the lot. I want to deal with somebody. I want to wheel and deal when I'm out over at Kia Cheyenne on Nation Way. So again, for more information, call 775-0123. I want to thank our good friends over at Platte Valley Bank ×2, the original location on Banda High, and again, the east side location. You'll catch them right there at the corner of College and Pershing. Convenient drive-thrus. If you need to do some banking inside, give them a call, 778-0021. We also want to thank Chick-fil-A, Windmill, and Dell Range, right across from Powers Field and Menards, the Meffers, Ray and Cindy, and the great staff there. I want to remind you that they have for you right now. They have their Parmesan kits. Oh, you're going to like that. And it's only $14.99, so get that ordered up. 2 convenient drive-thrus, or go through the Chick-fil-A app for the mobile curbside. I will say this, ice cream is back, but in a cup, no cones. And again, their milkshakes, again, come to you in a flat lid, no whipped cream or cherry on top. Again, delicious eating all the time. Real chicken sandwiches for you over at Chick-fil-A, Windmill, and Dell Range. Medicap Pharmacy for all your pharmaceutical needs. See Gene and the wonderful staff over at Medicap Pharmacy on Bluegrass Circle next door to Texas Roadhouse. Do your business inside, or again, use the convenient drive-thru. They are open Monday through Saturday. We also want to thank B&B Appliance and TV at 714 Central Avenue. Bruce and the crew have 2 doors for you when you go to B&B. Left-hand door, sales, where you'll find GE, Maytag, Whirlpool, Frigidaire on the showroom floor. So whether it's a microwave, dishwasher, washer, dryer, refrigerator, refreezer, whatever the case may be, Bruce has it for you. And then on the right-hand side, it is their service department, whether you need a light bulb for the fridge or you need to get a water filter for the refrigerator, freezer combo. Bruce will have that for you over at B&B Appliance and TV. 714 Central Avenue, 638-6468. Lennox Auto Body, along with the Auto Glass and Detail Center over at 1020 Dunn Avenue. That is the Auto Body Shop, and the Auto Glass and Detail Center over on Pershing Boulevard, founded by Dick Lennox, tradition carried on by his daughter Heather. For over a quarter century, they've been taking care of our vehicle needs. 634-6608. First Tier Bank at 1508 Stillwater Avenue, 632-3500. Give them a call to do all your banking. They're open Monday through Friday. And talk to them about their CD rates. Even though interest rates are low, they still are offering some great CD rates over at First Tier Bank. Mondello's Pizzeria is directly across the street at 1507 Stillwater Avenue. Sweet D in the Greenway Commons, 5th decade in business now for Joe Mondello. His pie is still number 1 in Wyoming, still top 10 by the Food Network folks. Whether you do the Sicilian pie, you do a slice of pizza, whether it's cheese or pepperoni, or you do one of his gourmet pies, you're going to enjoy the delicious TLC put into every pizza over at Mondello's Pizzeria. Again, they offer strombolis, calzones. They have delicious hot and cold Italian subs, steak subs, all on fresh baked bread. Again, Mondello's Pizzeria has been serving our community needs as Joe Mondello now begins his 5th decade in business at 1507 Stillwater Avenue, Suite D in the Greenwood Commons. Call for takeout, because you got to do the takeout thing, 778-6068. And it's scoreboard time, finally, and it's being brought to you by Pepsi of Cheyenne. We go to Nick.
nothing in action, but at least we will talk about what's upcoming tomorrow, especially here on 1480 KRAE, as we will have our first broadcast back on air since, again, the cancellation of the state tournament all the way back in March. So, again, it's been quite some time, so 3 months have passed by. But, yes, we will at least have Cheyenne Extreme action coming up tomorrow as they'll play a doubleheader against Gering Logos. 5 o'clock is the start time for the first game, and tentative start time of 6:45 for game number 2. Again, Cheyenne Extreme hosting the Gering Logos over at Converse Softball Complex happening here in town. Again, we will bring it live here on 1480 AM, 101.1 FM, 1480KRAE.com to hear the audio web stream and video live streaming. Again, fingers crossed. Again, it's our first venture into softball broadcasting, but again, should work. But again, it will be at least broadcasted live on Periscope, which is on Twitter at Nick Wild Sports, or also too on the 1480 KRAE YouTube channel. So again, 20 games into the season, we're now at least partnered with Cheyenne Extreme to bring the remainder of the season for some fast pitch.
Women's fast pitch. That's a first here on 1480 KRAE. Speaking of a first, women's softball added to the rosters at South, Central, and East for the upcoming 2021 season. Speaking of softball, our first guest will be joining us here momentarily, Curtis Quigley, South High's new softball coach. We're back after these words here on 1480 KRAE.
All right, if you're a gamer, you know the world of gaming is full of amazing gear. Portable cannons, flying tanks, whoa, like that one, mythic artifacts. But the most advanced tool in gaming today isn't even in the game. It's right in your hand. Mountain Dew Amp Game Fuel. Mountain Dew Amp Game Fuel is purpose-built for gaming, created with pro gamers for gamers. What does that mean? It means it's formulated with ingredients that have been shown to improve accuracy, whoa, and alertness. And Mountain Dew Amp Game Fuel tastes great too. Mountain Dew Amp Game Fuel even comes in a special can with a uniquely textured grip, so it's easy to refuel between respawns. The ones you're furiously trying to avoid? Hey, there we go. So next time you log online, gear up. Get the drink designed for gaming. Mountain Dew Amp Game Fuel. Victory in a can.
Your locally owned and operated radio stations, KYOI FM and 1480 KRAE AM, are just that, local. Serving Cheyenne and Laramie County, where your advertising dollar stays local too. It doesn't end up in Colorado, Oklahoma, New Hampshire, or even New York. We conduct business here, we shop here, and we live here. And we support our entire community 24/7, 365. Just because it has a window dressing doesn't mean it isn't a facade. A reminder from KYOI and 1480 KRAE. Cheyenne Urological has been the cornerstone of urinary care to Cheyenne and its surrounding communities for over 30 years. With their fine expert doctors, along with their highly trained staff, they will provide top quality treatment for prostate cancer, urinary tract infections, kidney stones, impotence, and incontinence. Cheyenne Urological is now offering cutting-edge robotic surgery. So call Cheyenne Urological at 635-4131 for compassionate expert urinary care. That's 635-4131. Family owned and operated Lennox Auto Body, along with the Auto Glass and Detail Center, has been serving our community for over 25 years with quality service and workmanship. So when you want it done right the first time, call Lennox Auto Body at 634-6608 for an appointment. Lennox Auto Body at 1020 Dunn Avenue. And the Auto Glass and Detail Center, remember, it's not clean until it's Lennox clean at 617 East Pershing Boulevard.
Lennox Auto Body. No shortcuts, no compromise.
Summer is here. Is there a staycation in your future? Enjoy an adventure in your own backyard with a new boat, RV, or vehicle financed by Platte Valley Bank. With competitive rates and friendly service, we are here to help. Apply online at pvbank.com or stop in today and we can get you on the road or in the water.
You can count on Platte Valley Bank.
Platte Valley Bank, member FDIC.
Would you rather walk across hot coals or have poison ivy everywhere? Some choices are a lose-lose, but it's all win-win at Taco John's. Choose 3 chicken street tacos or 3 chicken soft-shell tacos for just $5. Taco John's. Bigger, bolder, better.
Our drive-thru is still open. Swing by for all your Taco John's favorites for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, or order delivery from participating locations with the Taco John's app.
Here's the latest weather forecast on 1480 KRAE.
Otherwise, for today, mostly sunny. Expected daytime high of 74 with a pretty good chance for showers and afternoon thunderboomers. Tonight, it's going to be partly cloudy with a chance for showers and evening thunderstorms, a low down to 46 degrees. Tomorrow, Tuesday, mostly sunny. Expected daytime high of 76 with a chance for showers and afternoon thunder. And for Tuesday night, mostly clear with a slight chance of showers and thunderstorm activity. Our low drop down to 49 degrees.
You're listening to Cheyenne's new Sports Talk Authority. This is Wyoming Sports Talk Today on AM 1480 KRAE.
Dust settles on the year 2020, if it ever does. It's going to be a very unique year here in the city of Cheyenne, and a lot of firsts. Matter of fact, first time ever we'll have women's softball part of the curriculum over at our high schools.
And not just here in city of Cheyenne, but across the entire
this
state.
Is what but we're concerned about Cheyenne more than anything. And again, Cheyenne Central, Cheyenne East, and Cheyenne South. And a first. The first head coach. Congratulations going out to Curtis Quigley at South High of the Lady Fighting Bison, who will be taking over the direction for women's softball. So, Coach, nice to have you on the program. I guess let's go through the hiring process. You're already with South High, and you're already on the coaching staff over at South High. Tell us a little bit, once this job became available, how did you get involved with it?
I got super excited from the beginning when I first heard that it was going to be on the board, and then Cody having them approving it and kind of starting that snowball effect. That was awesome to see. And then I was immediately in Coach Puev's office. I had conversation with him about, obviously there were some Title IX issues in the city, and they were talking about adding girls wrestling and some other things to help fulfill that. And so that it was, for me, I was like, hey, I'd go either way. I'd support both sides, but I really like softball. I like baseball. I want to be a part of that, and that would be a great opportunity. I'd wanted to be a part of it from the beginning when I very first heard that was an option. So
let's talk about your background at Cheyenne South. So, again, you are now the official head coach of at least softball there at Cheyenne South. And, again, he alluded to what other, at least you were involved with other athletics there at Cheyenne South. But talk about what athletics you are with Cheyenne South right now.
Yeah, so I currently coach football as an assistant with Dan Gallus with the football program, kind of help out everywhere, special teams and defense primarily. And then I've helped out with wrestling the past couple of years with Coach Ojeda, and he's we're on going into our third season there with wrestling. I've helped out in the past with indoor track and then outdoor track, and I just ended my second stint there as the head girls outdoor track coach.
Now I'm going to ask you as well as we head in, or at least now you're going to be the head man for softball at Cheyenne South. Background in softball at all, at least previous to Cheyenne South, or what kind of baseball or softball knowledge do you bring to the table for Cheyenne South?
Yeah, absolutely. So I played Legion ball in high school. Played with the Helena Centers up Post 22 up in Helena, Montana. And then I went to college in Dillon, Montana, where I played football actually. And while coaching football, I got into coaching Little League baseball during the summers. I stayed in Dillon and just kind of hung out and did my workouts with the team and the coaches. And I got hooked into coaching Little League baseball. And it just so happened I wasn't even on track to be a teacher. I was coaching one of the professors, and they came up to me after one of the games and said, hey, you need to look into becoming a PE teacher and coaching. So about a month later, I switched my major, and I got into being a teacher and PE specifically. I had enough business credits. I got the business endorsement as well. Started continuing coaching baseball. I got on with the Legion program in Dillon, Montana, taking on kind of like what it'd be equivalent to the prep team here. So they had single A baseball in Montana. So I started the B program with the Dillon Cubs there. And then I moved down here. So I took about a year off. Moved down here, had a daughter, and I had bugged Tag Lane a couple of times about my interest, and I hit him at the right time, and he had that 13-year-old Wyco team. Said I need a coach for that, so I took that on and was able to coach that for a summer and really liked it. And then Tag stepped down. Ty took over the program, and he hit me up and said, hey, I'd like you to run the prep program. So I did that for a couple of years with David Lazarus the second year, and we had a lot of fun, a lot of success there. And then the Central job opened up when Severn left, and the Burns job opened up, and I applied for both of those head positions for football. And Ty was asking me, hey, you going to keep coaching? And I was like, hey, I've got these two big opportunities. If I get one of these, I'm going to need a lot of time to get things rolling. So I stepped down, and so heck, that's been 2 years now. This is the second summer, and I was missing it. So it's awesome.
And something we've kind of kidded around with other, at least coaches, whether it is on softball, football, basketball, it's a 365, 24-hour job where, again, you got to focus on everything from recruiting, setting up schedules. And, again, now as we're heading into that first for softball here and again, not just in the city of Cheyenne, but, again, the state of Wyoming, you got to now get uniforms figured out. You got to get, recruits out to Cheyenne South now. You got to make sure that, hey, we have proper batting gloves, bats, all this fun stuff. So, again, now as you're part of this historic first, you got a lot to deal with before we get into springtime here in 2021 for at least the first softball game for Cheyenne South.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. There's that list, as we were talking last week, is just ongoing. When you start thinking about all the things I want to do, need to do, just getting the right assistants around me right now so I can start kind of divvying out all those little checklist items I got to do. Yeah, I want to get even a program, an off-season program set up for South High kids that are interested in it, that they can be affiliated with some familiar faces as well. But that you're talking maybe a year or two out before that even gets started.
It's interesting when you're talking about the resume a little bit. I know the drill too, coaching him, coaching my daughter, coaching Legion when I was in California. We probably have chewed a lot of the same dirt, so to speak. But let's be real honest. Baseball, softball, been there, did it, done it. So I know exactly what it is. Baseball, you could do a lot of things with baseball, but in girls softball, it's the little things that you have to teach the young ladies. And again, a lot of small ball is played in softball. Talk about some of the philosophy that you're going to bring to the table.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I'm a big proponent in that middle away approach at the plate. How do you move base runners and getting the ball in the right positions on the field offensively, and then defensively. That's where I'm going to spend majority of my time. Is I want to make sure we experience all these different situations that can happen, whether the runners at first, runners at third, this situation, that situation. We've got to be so well prepared that we're thinking before the play. We know exactly what we're doing, and we can execute in those moments. And that's really what it comes down to. When I think about baseball, it wasn't the team that always hit the best or the team that always – it was the teams that was always situationally sound. They minimized mistakes. They didn't let things snowball, and they just executed well when they needed to. Pitchers in the MLB, they give up hits all the time, but they don't score all the time. We don't see perfect games every week. So it's just all about that minimization and just trying to get in the right situation, score a run here, trying to score one run an inning. If we can do that, minimize on defense, you've got a chance always at the end.
You mentioned too, being at South, that kind of gives you one step advantage. Mm-hmm. You're there, you know the young ladies that walk through the halls. Again, unfortunately, you said goodbye to some good seniors this year, but you got another senior class coming in, a junior, sophomore class, for example. So and again, even freshmen. So you look at a lot of talented young ladies that may not go out for track, that may not necessarily play soccer, but are softballers. So, again, you've got an opportunity to, I guess, work the phones and start getting a hold of some of these young ladies. I don't know. What can you do without getting in trouble from a school district standpoint? Can you start putting out the flyer saying, hey, we're going to have softball, sign up?
Well, we'll see you at least tomorrow over at Converse, checking out that extreme games happening.
Oh, definitely. I've got a couple students right now that I already know are part of it. Aubriana Garcia is one of them, and she's been one that I've known for a couple of years. She's been a part of Extreme. And so when it first got announced, we had girls telling us and signing up with another teacher saying, hey, I'm interested in softball next year. And we wanted to have a rough idea that if I were to get the job, what do we have we're working with? And we had a lot of freshman and sophomore type girls signing up. But as far as what you're saying, like getting in trouble and things like that, I think at the end of the day, as long as I'm respecting the other coaches and what the work they've already put in with the girls they have, and I'm not trying to recruit those girls, I'm going to be fine. And that's not my goal. I don't want the girl who's invested her life in soccer to come play softball all of a sudden. That's not the goal. Even when I was with the track, we ran into that issue every now and then where coaches felt like maybe we're recruiting here and doing that, and that's never really the case. We don't want a kid to leave another sport to go help another. We want them to, where they've invested that time and what coaches invested all that time in them to be able to enjoy that athlete. So, but I think there's enough market at South High of girls who weren't going out for sports, that's where we're going to get our biggest success from. How do we get these kids involved where they have a little bit of softball experience from 5th, 6th, 7th grade when they did some rec ball, and trying to get those girls reinterested and out for the sport.
Well, and again, something that where we've talked plenty of times with AD Mark Puev over there, where he's kind of put at least coaching staffs to look across the street to Johnson Junior High, saying, "Hey, let's start early here when they are just entering into that at least triad school to eventually get them interested or get them on that fast track that once they head over to Cheyenne South." Is that also too something that would be on your radar of just heading over, seeing some of those junior high school at least students and saying, "Hey, we got this new opportunity. If you're not interested, or again, hey, if you're not really interested in a sport right now, maybe we can encourage you once you head up to Cheyenne South to play some softball."
Absolutely, and I think that's where the establishing like some type of club team where those 8th graders could be a part of during the summer. And now all of a sudden I'm getting to see them. It's almost like a glorified tryout for them where I can watch them play before they even step foot on the campus. And I have an idea of what I have and what I need to develop and work towards.
We're talking with Curtis Quigley. He's the new Lady Fighting Bison head coach for softball coming up in the year 2021. Curtis, as I'm listening to a lot of this conversation right now, I'm thinking what benefits softball is going to have, especially to our club team, which would be Cheyenne Extreme. And, of course, Adam Galicia is going to be coaching at Cheyenne East, so he's always going to be in touch with all 3 of the schools and ladies that were going to be into the 18 and under program and the other programs. But how important, and I've noticed this too, I noticed when my daughter was playing that they dropped 16 and under. I mean, there was lack of interest, so they put everybody in 18 and under, and you got 14-year-olds playing with the girls that are seniors or out of high school. So how important is our programs at East, Central, South going to be for even city programs to keep that enthusiasm during the summer months?
Just knowing as a middle school kid or an elementary kid, knowing that one day you get to play high school ball, it now has given a little bit more substance to rec ball when you're younger. Now you say, hey, one day I get to go be a Bison softball player. Versus I'm just playing softball. I'm not going to get much out of it unless I go pay to go play in a club team or I do X, Y, or Z, or maybe I'm not really gifted right now as a player. But if they know that, hey, if I keep working at it, I have a high school shot I can work on, and maybe through high school by my senior year, I can have this opportunity if I want that. It creates more of a track where I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. And why would I want to do something now? And it creates that end goal for them.
Well, so basically, just by the announcement for all 3 high schools, you would think there. And again, unfortunately, we're running into the situation we are this year. But you would hope, as of next summer, if everything can return to somewhat of a restart, you would hope that more young ladies are in that 10, 12, 14 under category as they're getting primed to go into junior high school / high school.
Yeah, I'd love to have, even just for a South High Bison junior development program, a 12U, 14U, 16U, 18U, where if these kids aren't, because I know my wife's a volleyball coach, she's pulling kids summer long to go to a camp here, and then between football, we're trying to get kids, basketball's trying to get kids, so they're a part of a lot of stuff. And so, but if we have that opportunity available, we'll never know. And so we just got to make that available so they can get out and do it, and then we can get a better idea of what we can do. Because you might have to. You might say, hey, we can't do a 12U team this year, but we can do the best we can to have a 14U team and make it as equitable in competition for you so you're not outclassed and outmatched. You never want that.
So for you, Coach, again, obviously right now with our programs as we enter into first year in 2021 with softball here in the state of Wyoming on the high school ranks, obviously it's been outlined of, hey, we got to go off of city fields right now of Converse and Bremer, or again, wherever the school district kind of decides where we're going to play these games for East, Central, and South. But for you, as you're talking about building up this kind of program just like the Cheyenne Extreme, of building up those multiple, at least, options for, again, various ages for Cheyenne South products, is that something that they're on that campus? Again, you look at Cheyenne South, you got a lot of land out there on the south side. Is that something where you're going to kind of push, advocate, or at least hope for that at least South or at least the school district can fund some money to build at least a South High complex for softball out there? So, again, you weren't on city fields. It's South High Lady Fighting Bison fields that they're playing on.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's the end goal. That's where we want to be. We want to have somewhere we call home, somewhere we can defend and have some pride in. So, yeah, that's the vision. We want to have that type of environment where we can say, hey, this is our house and we're going to protect it.
Nick mentioned in the early get-go of our conversation, equipment and funding. And again, luckily, if I'm not mistaken, you can correct me if I'm wrong, even though we've run into the COVID-19 cutbacks that the state is going to face, but I think the initial startup costs for softball, everything was already in place. Let's talk about, and again, if you're coaching City League, they give you a bag, a few balls, and, go out and have a practice. Sit down with us and just talk about what you need to put in place. Again, besides Lady Fighting Bison jerseys, what do you need to properly outfit our softball team?
Well, you can, the basics are a given. We can assume that. It'd be nice to have that extra equipment, the bats, catching gear, things of that nature that are a little bit more of the above and beyond your average ball player.
Are all three schools going to go through the same company? And I'll just throw out Under Armour, for example.
I think we're still having conversations on that. I think originally, and the plan is maybe try and be as equitable as possible with it. But for me, it's like I don't want my jersey to look the exact same as your jersey, but with a different stripe color. I want to have something that says, hey, this is who we are. So I'd like to have that. But at the end of the day, it's going to be what it is, and we'll accept it. But other than that, an indoor facility, and I think that's something that got brought up early in the conversations, but we were talking about weather, and it's going to be interesting, and we've got to make sure we have the ability to still practice and go through all the technique stuff we need to do on a daily basis without any major interruptions. I can't say we're not practicing this week because we have a foot of snow. We've got to be able to get inside and hit and do some of the fundamentals.
You have I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. You have two gymnasiums over there at South High. If we're coming to that tail, by the time softball should be functioning, you should be coming out of basketball with regional and state, so you would at least have a couple solid weeks in the gymnasium.
Yeah, we have the gym, and we also have a really big wrestling room that doesn't get utilized during the spring either. And so you're talking, you have to balance between soccer teams that are trying to use that gym, and you have a track team that needs to use hallways and gym to do their stuff. Is where's the most functional space? I don't know where it's ultimately going to be. I've thrown that idea out, but we get it. We just got to have the right room, the right equipment, and the time.
As I say, there's not enough space at that Wyco facility to fit all three of these now high school teams, and also to the field house at UW that has hosted a few soccer matches due to at least state events or, again, with the weather. So it is something where we've kind of advocated. Now, yes, we need that indoor facility.
I was going to also think, too, if there's a foot of snow on the ground and you do have the football field, now, is there a possibility that maintenance crews could come out and at least plow some of that stuff off, move it off, where you could at least go on the carpet a little bit?
I know they try not to do that because when you move the snow, you move a bunch of those pellets and you get some weird settling. I've had some issues with football games and things like that where all of a sudden you have a hole and lumps, and it does. So I think they try not to do that, but I don't know the right answer for that.
Let's keep on track, or at least we'll move away from softball and eventually get back into it again. As you talk about football, as you are part of staff of Dan Gallus's Cheyenne South football team, where right now, again, football looking like it should happen here in the state of Wyoming, especially here in Class 4A with all of these schools participating. But for you as being on that insight, and also too at Cheyenne South, I think other high schools around the state are also too allowing kids to come and at least participate in workouts or at least weight training right now during the summer times. How confident are you that we will have at least football here in Class 4A this season?
I feel fairly confident as, the COVID and this pandemic has moved through. I think we've shown pretty consistently that we've been able to limit our outbreaks and keep that number down. So I would imagine that worst case scenario, we're without fans for a little bit. I know I was listening to Ron Laird's announcement the other week about that, the state of it and what they were thinking. And they have all the plans in there. And so we just have to be flexible and understanding and just be ready for anything to happen at any moment and make sure we cross our T's and dot our I's and do everything right as it pertains to the safety and health of our kids.
One of the things that we were talking before we went on air was numbers last year for football. And with COVID-19, there could be some families that will say, I'm not sure if I want to let Nick go out for football this year. I'm pretty hesitant about it. How do you make families feel rest assured, or you just kind of say, I understand. We'll have to make do.
I think we need to be pretty upfront about what we're going to do to make sure that it is a safe environment. Obviously, football itself already is a dangerous sport. So when you add in the element of getting something else other than an injury, it might push some families over the edge for sure. And understandably, like, we don't want our kids to end up with something that could affect them negatively. But I think the more upfront we can say, hey, this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to ensure safety. So it's kind of that teamwork component. Is we'll work with you guys, make sure your kids are washing their clothes, washing their hands, and taking showers, and we'll make sure the equipment's clean every day, and we're doing everything on our side to make sure that we're safe and following these guidelines.
I want to say, at least regarding Cheyenne South, and again, pre-COVID-19, again, for Cheyenne South, and we made precedent to talk about whether it was with Dan Gallus or, again, we've noticed on our broadcast that, again, South and Laramie were the only two programs last year that were sporting at a point in time less than 30 athletes on those sidelines, whether it was due to injuries or just off-the-field issues with your student athletes, where numbers have already been an issue for Cheyenne South. Now, with adding this COVID-19 situation, if you do have families or at least those members that do not want to at least participate, also too, there are that possibilities of transfers, as we've seen here in this part of the world with athletes. Is there a number cutoff that could it be a potential that Cheyenne South, due to the fact that there is not enough numbers, can't foot a team? Because we've seen in the past where, hey, freshmen and JV squads had to be, or at least those schedules had to be cut short due to the fact of lack of numbers. Has Coach Gallus or Mark Poev kind of outlined of, hey, if we don't hit this number mark, it's probably not a smart thing at the risk of our student athletes to put them out there, since we don't have enough healthy bodies to give them a break?
I would say I've been very fortunate to not get to that conversation yet. And we've been in times where we're talking, do we play this freshman, or do we travel this kid just in case? So we've been to those real dire moments. Thankfully, not that dire. And I hope we don't go down that path. I hope that we sit down, we say, this is the plan if we do get there. I hate thinking negative like that. I'd like to be an optimist and say that we're going to be just fine. But it is one of those things where we might have to consider it. I would say, based off of what we're able to do with our summer workouts and what kids we have out, we'll have a good understanding. I know we had close to 30 football players out today. We had our first day of summer weights, and so we had the kids that are primarily around, and we always have those stragglers that'll start coming in too. So I would say right now we look about on par. We're gonna have a couple kids here and there that, whether it's because of COVID or parents decide they didn't want them to play, we might lose, but as of right now, I'm going to keep pretty optimistic and say we're not even going to think about that path.
Coach, you said something back before Nick came with this question, and I want to go to the word hygiene. Mm-hmm. And I remember last year at one of the schools, I said, I need a towel because it was raining. We wanted to clean off the window. And they said, well, we don't have towels anymore. They don't shower. So let me ask you this question. With COVID-19 being first and foremost in this country this year, will hygienics change a little bit, where after a game or after practice you will allow the young men or young ladies on the softball team to shower and clean themselves, wash their hands, whatever the case may be? I mean, I was shocked to hear no more towels, because I know when I played football way back when, we took a shower after the game. We didn't go home smelling on a bus. We actually, brought, a second change of clothes. I was just shocked to hear all this. Are things going to change in that respect just because of COVID-19?
From the school district standpoint, and I guess all schools in the state of Wyoming, the showers are always available for the kids. I think the schools stopped providing towels because kids would take the towels, they wouldn't get all the towels back, and they're running into issues like that. Then B, you're talking, all the different stuff that, sharing a towel could possibly bring. So I think they kind of stepped away from that liability side of it. So they've always been available. But for whatever reason, and I was saying about I showered after football games. I didn't want to ride 4 hours on a bus after playing Billings, Skyview, or Senior and be sweaty and stinky, because you're dripping sweat after those games. You're stinky. So showering for me was never even a thought. But a lot of these kids, they don't want to. I don't know if it's a privacy concern, and they just kind of avoid it. So, yeah, we're teaching these kids. We're trying to help these kids understand why they need to. And I think with something like COVID, and I know with, like, the wrestling environment, when you start talking like ringworm and all these skin diseases that can go around, it's like we're not telling you to shower for any other reason other than the fact that we don't want you to catch something you shouldn't catch. And, it's like I said, it's a learning opportunity. We're just trying to make sure these kids understand the importance of hygiene. But look across the country right now, it's like, I don't think we've had since I've been alive, people washing their hands as frequently than we are now.
Right.
So COVID's at least taught us one really important thing. Hygiene's important. Washing your hands frequently before you eat and do things is normal, and you should be doing that. So yes, I hope it does help stress the importance of us doing that.
I'm glad you
the
answered.
washing the hands that I learned at Johnson Junior High, where it's like, weren't you supposed to do that before all this was happening?
Well, I'm glad that he brought that up about. I couldn't figure out why we had all those white towels at our house. Right there. Anyway, go ahead.
But again, get back to the softball thing. Again, we appreciate you coming in, and again, congratulations on being announced as a new head coach over there at Cheyenne South, and looking forward to the 2021 season for Lady Fighting Bison softball. Scouting, or at least kind of looking at other opportunity, or at least other athletes across the state of Wyoming, where again you'll see the likes of Casper, the other two at least schools here in town, again Laramie, and a few other at least schools around the state of Wyoming. Is scouting going to be important during, at least we now know upcoming here in about a couple weeks, they will have the state tournament over in Laramie with a lot of at least local teams coming on now. Is that something that you plan on attending, or again, how do you kind of scout and prepare for that first season to see what you're going to be facing during that season?
I think there's two different approaches you look at. Yeah, it'd be a good idea to know what to be ready for, especially when you can see some other sides of the state. The other side of it that I like to look at is how are we just going to grow internally? How do we build what we have right now? And we can look outside a lot, compare, and get ready for. I think one of the blessings we're going to have is Cheyenne is going to host the first softball tournament. So we're going to have all the teams, all 12 teams, 12, right? That's what I counted, yeah. So we're going to have all 12 teams down in Cheyenne and just to play ball. And I think that's going to be probably the first time we'll truly probably go out and scout. We'll start getting hitting charts and doing everything we need to do to get ready for the season and just to get ready for probably conference play, stuff like that. But I don't want to look outside too much. I want to really focus internally and just say, hey, this is what we need to do to be successful, identify the kids that we have, and just grow. That's got to be what we have to do right up to get-go.
I like the word we, because you need to get a staff in place too. So chatting with Mark Puev, what limits do you have? Obviously, a varsity. Will there be a junior varsity? Will there be a freshman team? Tell us what is the perfect world right now for you?
I would say perfect world right now, like a freshman-sophomore combo team, so like your sub-JV, and then a JV team in varsity. I think that would be really easy to manage. It would have great flow from one level to the next.
About 36 ladies.
Yeah, even up to 50. And you're talking. There's hypothetically, how many kids you have out's really going to determine that. You might have two. You might have a true freshman team. I don't know what the rest of the state's going to look like with that. Can you field the true freshman team and get them good competition with other teams? And so it's very dynamic right now. It's a very open-ended world, I think, and I have no concrete answers of even what I'm going to be able to hire as a staff. I don't know if I have 2 assistants, 3 assistants.
You haven't been directed yet as how many vacancies you can fill.
And I would imagine it'll be, hey, you get X and Y, and then when you get so much in numbers, we'll give you Z. And that's what I'm kind of prepared for mentally. So I've got to have at least 2 assistants, I think, to be able to run a good program, especially with 3 different teams.
Has anybody been in contact with you? Either from South High or just in general? Because again, you know people, and I'm sure everybody was excited that you got the job, and it's like, hey, if you need some help.
Yep, absolutely. And I play slow pitch softball still in town, and a couple of the guys I play with actually used to play a lot of fast pitch back in the day, and so I went to them right away and said, hey, I was like, I'd love your guidance a little bit. Just what do you know from your perspective, and just trying to pick brains and get some more tips and tricks and what things should I focus on right away to be the most successful. And most people are really willing. I'd love to be a part of softball. I'd love to help out. So I've got a lot of people interested in just being around and helping. As far as wanting to be an assistant, I definitely want to look internally first and see what we have in building, because I think those relationships are super important. But it'll be interesting when that job opens up, how many people apply and what that interest is.
And my final thought for you, Coach, again, thanks for at least coming by and talking about, again, Cheyenne South softball, as it's now a reality. And again, it's starting to at least that painting that painting started to get clearer and clearer day by day. But right now, for the Activities Association or for Mark Puev or the school district, do you have a date? At least have they set up a date or timeline of when you can start addressing, at least hiring coaches or ordering bats, getting everything, at least start recruiting? Is there a date set right now where you can start getting underway with Cheyenne South softball?
Hard date, I'd say no. I know we have a couple meetings. We're going to meet with all the ADs and all 3 coaches kind of in one big group and talk about facilities and things like that. I would imagine after that meeting we'll know more about when we can start doing stuff and start ordering. But I know Mark's interested in trying to get that stuff done sooner than later because he knows obviously I'm interested in I coach football and wrestling, and I'm going to be busy during that time, so I probably don't want to have a super full plate. So I'll take advantage as much of the summer as possible to get that stuff done and ready.
The question is, will you ever be home?
You know, that's one thing. My wife wasn't probably the most thrilled at the beginning because I think that reality set in where when we both coached track, we had a very consistent schedule. And now we've added another element to our schedule, and we've got our son at home who's busy and just getting more busy with the day. So will I be home? Yes. Will it be the hours that I need to be? Probably not. You know, that's the fun part of coaching.
Well, we want to thank you. We wish you all the best. South High's new softball coach for the Lady Fighting Bison, Curtis Quigley. Thank you so much for joining us here on Wyoming Sports Talk today. Take a time out. We're past break time. We'll be back after this. Chick-fil-A at Windmill and Del Range across from Powers Field is a proud sponsor of our high school and LCCC student athletes. Chick-fil-A always offers 2 convenient drive-through lanes to pick up your order if you are on the go. Plus, they have an excellent dining room for the whole family. And remember to order ahead. Use the Chick-fil-A app on your phone. Stop into Chick-fil-A today, open Monday through Saturday, where you can enjoy breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You're home for the real chicken sandwich taste. Chick-fil-A, Windmill and Del Range.
We are the key to your cleaning success. The Key People that provides affordable office and professional cleaning services for over 40 years with exceptional customer care. All of our contractors have background checks and are licensed and bonded. We guarantee you a safe and secure service that is tailored to your individual and business needs. The Key People do not impose year-long contracts, and all quotes are free, confidential, and personalized. Call the Key People at 1-800-468-8283. That's 1-800-468-8283.
Are you thinking about buying a new water heater? You could spend $1,300 or more on a gas-fired water heater. Or you could spend $0 on a top-of-the-line electric water heater from High West Energy. That's right, $0. High West members can upgrade from gas to electric without spending a penny. Don't you wish all decisions were this easy? Go to highwestenergy.com to learn more or call 307-245-3261. High West Energy, the best choice, the local choice, the right choice for you.
At Medicap Pharmacy, we concentrate on nothing but your medications and your health. Each location is a locally owned full-service neighborhood pharmacy. We won't make you walk through aisles and aisles of stuff or wait in a long line. Instead, we'll always make time for you by listening, answering your questions, and explaining your prescriptions.
Medicap Pharmacy. We'll always make time for you.
Medicap Pharmacy, 1947 Bluegrass Circle, next to Texas Roadhouse in Cheyenne. Or call 635-3712.
What is Schwab's modern approach to investing? It's great service. It's transparency about how much you're paying in fees and commissions. It's offering some of the lowest costs in the industry backed by a satisfaction guarantee. If you're not satisfied for any reason, they'll refund the eligible fees and work with you to make things right. So ask yourself, are you getting low cost and award-winning service? If not, maybe it's time to call Schwab. Visit Sam at the Cheyenne Independent Branch or schwab.com/Cheyenne for more information. Charles Schwab and Company, Incorporated. Member SIPC.
Did you know B&B Appliance and TV has a local warehouse where they stock a variety of appliances in a wide range of colors and finishes, including black and white? Their friendly staff realizes that one look isn't for everyone, and appliance shopping isn't always convenient. B&B Appliance offers free in-town delivery and disposal of your old appliances. They'll be there for you after the sale, too, because they always service what they sell. B&B Appliance and TV, 714 Central Avenue. Best brands, hometown service.
At First Tier Bank, we are proud to be a member of this great community and will always support all of our high school athletes. First Tier Bank takes great pride in sponsoring the live broadcast of the games and would like to wish all of our teams good luck. We share the credo with Newt Rockney when he said, "One man practicing sportsmanship is far better than 100 teaching it." It's all about the high school sports at First Tier Bank, 1508 Stillwater Avenue, Cheyenne.
When you say Mondello Pizzeria, think authentic Italian. When you say Mondello Pizzeria, think made fresh from scratch. When you say Mondello Pizzeria, think great pizza, delicious Philly cheesesteak, superb hot and cold Italian sandwiches, meatballs, sausage, and special subs, calzones, crisp salads, and great service. When you say Mondello's Pizzeria, think unmatched Italian taste. Mondello's Pizzeria, 1507 Stillwater Avenue, your only true Italian stop for lunch or dinner.
Here's the latest weather forecast on 1480 KRAE.
Weather-wise for today, mostly sunny. Expect a daytime high of 74 with a pretty good chance for showers and afternoon thunderboomers. Tonight, it's going to be partly cloudy with a chance for showers and evening thunderstorms, a low down to 46 degrees. Tomorrow, Tuesday, mostly sunny. Expect a daytime high of 76 with a chance for showers and afternoon thunder. And for Tuesday night, mostly clear with a slight chance of showers and thunderstorm activity. Our low drop down to 49 degrees.
When it comes to sports talk in Cheyenne, it's a whole new ball game. Let's play ball! You're listening to Wyoming Sports Talk today, and it's only here on AM 1480 KRAE.
We're back on Wyoming Sports Talk today. Once again, thank you to Curtis Quigley. Join us in our first hour. We will have Cody Tucker join us here in hour number 2 as we will talk 7220sports.com and also a bunch of stuff.
We'll think about July 2nd here, 2020. Again, it almost makes sense of what he's also putting on as well, too, upcoming here very soon. A little celebration for the Cowboy State. So,
well, let's and we'll save all that here for within the next 15 minutes. We do want to bring this up, and again, the state of the country is just unbelievable right now. And again, the anger. And I said this last week when we were talking with Coach Salisbury for LCCC. We need to get our fans somehow, some way back and cheering on our celebrities, our baseball, our basketball, our hockey, golf. We need to be back on the golf course. I'm telling you,
golf is there. Hockey, at least from Bettman, it looks like that will be July 24th is when at least teams will be able to practice. NBA is still up in the air. Again, you have that kind of 50-50 split right now between players saying, hey, I don't think it's the right time to come back, and some are saying, hey, we do. Right now, NHL is kind of the guarantee. Golf is, and also, too, NASCAR as well.
But baseball is starting to really,
baseball is right now a second thought. It's an afterthought.
I know, but see, that was always our 3-hour getaway from life. We can get out and go to a Rockies game, watch the Rockies like we did last year, Nick. We went down there on my birthday. We watched the Rockies and the Giants doubleheader for 7 hours. Yeah. We didn't think about anything that was going on in the world but watching 18 innings of baseball down at Coors Field. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
And again, now
and again, that's during different times. Obviously, as here we are in 2020, again, a lot has happened here in the 6 months that this year has existed. But again, it's more so of, it's up to those leagues. It's up to those individuals. Obviously, MLB right now is in a war between ownership, players, and just trying to figure out. It sounded like at least on the MLB side with Commissioner Manfred, he basically outlined of saying, hey, this is what we're going after. Or basically he said, the newest plan, I guess, from my understanding with MLB is saying, hey, here's the games. This is what you're going to get paid, and you accept it or not. Basically, where you said, hey, you need to put your foot down and basically give them basically say, hey, there's no more negotiating. This is go time. He did that, and right now we're waiting on Players Association to kind of make that decision. But right now, again, you're seeing on social media a lot of those players saying, hey, all right, we're done negotiating. We want to play now. We're ready for this. So,
but again, you said the key word there. It's a war. It's almost a war in the country. That's what I'm driving at. The tensions, the anger. We have no outlets right now. Do you understand what I'm saying? We have no summertime outlets.
Yeah, you do. Again,
what?
Do you
have?
You have golf. You have NASCAR right now that's going underway. And again, even here in this local side, you have You have Legion baseball.
You have it here locally.
collegiate
What do you
baseball.
have national? What do you have in Chicago right now? What do you have in Los Angeles?
Again, who cares right now? Those major cities. Again, what is happening? Again, right now.
Where's all the problems at though? It's in the major cities.
All right, then they deal with it. And again, we are where again we have our outlets out here. And again on the national side, you do. Again, where even Cody was talking about, hey, I'm so bored right now. I'm watching instead of the old Wyoming Cowboy replays. Hey, I'm going to watch some NASCAR. What is happening again as they had Talladega happening today, but wanted to talk about before at least we get Cody at least on here in the 4 o'clock hour. But I wanted to bring up obviously it's made major news out of NASCAR.
It's absolutely sickening.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty pathetic.
Sickening.
And hopefully they find this individual or whoever did this. Again, Bubba Wallace, the only at least black athlete in NASCAR over the weekend as they were getting ready for the Talladega race, found a noose in his garage. And understanding that these garages are pretty, again, there's not a whole lot of access to it. So
they're locked down. Yeah,
so
absolutely.
No media, no nothing. It's pretty much of race members. Again, teams are only available to at least be in these garage areas. So obviously it's someone within at least the NASCAR immediate family that did this just awful, just horrendous thing.
That's speculation. You don't know. You don't know. This like I said, the country has changed. Since the new year, January 1st of 2020, this country has done a remarkable change for the worse. And again, COVID-19 has a lot to do with it, all of the tensions that have taken place. But this is unacceptable. This is unacceptable what happened in NASCAR. Again, NASCAR is again, that's more of a southern type of situation.
And again, it is without a doubt. They do address a lot of, or at least have a majority of Southern fans who, again, kind of go off of that Southern pride, who also do hang high above them that Confederate flag, which, again, NASCAR came out and said a while ago saying, hey, it's barred. We don't care. Well, fans, whatever, if that's the hill you want to die on, who cares? We're not flying that flag anymore. It's not happening at any venue that we travel to.
And it wasn't put in place because of Bubba Wallace.
No.
This has been the national cry to eliminate these flags and banners.
And again, I have no issue with that. Again, NASCAR as a public entity, or at least, again, as a private company, again, they can absolutely do that. And again, I think that's the right move. Again, the Confederate flag, where is there really a two-sided issue on that thing? No, it's a flag of a body that fought.
The Civil War ended in 1865.
They lost, yeah, without a doubt. It's a flag of the losing side team. So again, why we're still hanging this thing high here in 2020, again, have no idea. But again, NASCAR, who again, that's a bold move by NASCAR as well too. Again, knowing their fan base of where. Not going to say all of them, but there is numbers there that do.
It's at least, primarily a southern draw.
But again, there are numbers that are those fans of NASCAR that do have hold a priority to that Confederate flag. That NASCAR, again, in a bold move, just said, we don't care.
Well,
this is the right thing to do. You fans, if this is going to upset you, then leave.
Well, and again, too, you got to understand NASCAR has gone through. They used to have the Winston Cup.
Yeah.
So NASCAR has had to.
They're like the Monster Energy Cup now, I think.
Well, I know, but they've had to do some rearranging because of groups. People that don't like things. And again, when it was Winston, hey, that's associated with smoking. Well, we don't want, Well,
and again, smoking has a bad connotation. So again, a great move by NASCAR to get away from that. Where again, hey, smoke. Where we, during that time, hey, smoking was the evil thing, and again, it still is. Again, it's still a ridiculous thing that people like as a habit get into. But again, moving into the Sprint Cup, and now again, I think the Monster Energy Cup as well too. So again, it is NASCAR, but.
Wait till they prove that Monster Energy gives you heart attacks, and then what are they going to do?
Yeah, Monster Energy is not healthy for you at all.
I know, but again, this going back to Bubba Wallace, we don't want to get off track.
Yeah, but again, with the Bubba Wallace situation, again, that was just whoever did that and staged that, you're pathetic. Well, and again, hopefully you are found, and something just whether it is on a judicial kind of side or some sort of at least some sort of way that you pay heavily for something like that. That's unacceptable.
Well, and again, the problem is we just got too many sick people running around right now, including this clown or clowns that did this. And again, it goes all across the U.S. It's just not, just so we say, it's just not at Talladega.
Yeah, it wasn't
it's
isolated
all around
NASCAR,
the U.S. right now.
But again, outside of that event, which is awful, and again, a lot of people have condemned it as rightfully so. Again, that is there's no place and time for something like that. Even if it was like a joke or a prank or whatever, again, that's unacceptable. But today with the race of Talladega, I don't know if you've seen the videos, and I posted it on, I do believe on the Twitter side, I don't know on the Facebook side, but Bubba Wallace at least tweeted it out, and also through NASCAR posted it, and a bunch of media outlets have posted it, where you saw the whole NASCAR family push Bubba Wallace's car out there.
They also painted "I stand with Bubba Wallace" on the infield.
On the infield, Richard Petty as well too, where he's been worried about COVID-19. He said, "Hey, for this, I'm coming out."
He's 82 years old, and again,
Bubba
Wallace drives for him.
And again, he's part of that Petty racing family. Where again, Richard Petty is saying recently, "Hey, I wasn't going to attend a NASCAR event. I was afraid of this, but for this moment, I'm going to stand with Bubba." So, and rightfully so. Again, if you haven't seen the video or the pictures or the images, it's powerful stuff.
So, and again, this is like I said, I hate to use the way of the world, but the way of our country right now. And I just think we need to get our
if you wanted a moment to at least not so much heal, but at least know that there is some positivity, or at least we are moving in a positive direction. Look at what happened today at Talladega. Again, NASCAR, again, it is a pro sport in a way, or at least, again, it is a nationwide event that everyone can watch right now. And again, all eyes are going to be on NASCAR right now because it's one of the few things that are happening here in this country. But what they did today is that kind of moment in time, or at least in history, where it is that moment forward. But that positive movement forward where you saw someone.
We need to get our sports up and running. But every time something comes from the CDC, and again, we understand in Florida they've had problems, some outbreaks, in southern Florida, or the NFL teams are worried, at their facilities. Unfortunately, COVID-19 is going to be here. It's not going to go away. It's the flu multiplied, and we have the flu all year round too. So, unfortunately, we either got to stand up to it and go for it, or we just put our heads in the sand and hope everything's going to get better, and it's not. We already got a view of the United States. It's not going to get better. All right, we do need to take a timeout. We're going to come back, and we'll have more right here on 1480 KRAE.
This is 1480 KRAE Cheyenne. It's time for Wyoming Sports Talk today on KRAE. Here are your hosts, Nick and Larry Proetti.
And Wyoming Sports Talk today, hour number 2, being brought to you by Taco John's of Cheyenne. Again, 5 locations to enjoy a delicious Tex-Mex from Taco John's. You can find them over on the South Greeley Highway, downtown Cary Avenue. You will find them at the corner of Pershing and Ridge, Del Range and Ridge, and on Yellowstone Road. Key of Cheyenne over on Nation Way. For more information, again, you can do your business on the lot, or you can do it online, keyofcheyenne.com, 7750123. Platte Valley Bank times 2 on Vanda High and at the corner of College and Pershing, 778-0021. Chick-fil-A, Windmill and Del Range, across from Powers Field and Menards. Again, mobile curbside, use the Chick-fil-A app, or use their 2 convenient drive-thrus. They're open Monday through Saturday from 7 in the morning until 10 p.m. Medicap Pharmacy, for all your pharmaceutical needs, open Monday through Saturday. Come inside, do your business with your doctor's prescription, or use the convenient drive-thru outside at Medicap Pharmacy. B&B Appliance and TV, 714 Central Avenue, where they service what they sell. Been in business for over a half century, over 50 years. And again, B&B Appliance and TV can be reached at 638-6468. Lennox Auto Body, along with the Auto Glass and Detail Center, founded by Dick Lennox a quarter century ago. Tradition carried on by his daughter, Heather. And again, 2 locations for you. The Auto Repair Center at 1020 Dunn Avenue. The Auto Glass and Detail Center located on Pershing Boulevard. First Year Bank, 1508 Stone Avenue, open Monday through Friday. Give them a call to do your banking, 632-3500. Mondello's Pizzeria right across the street, 1507 Stillwater Avenue, Suite D in the Greenway Commons, where Joe says, hey, we're still practicing the social distancing. You got to do the takeout thing with us. So give us a call at 778-6068, or you can go up to the takeout window and order there. Matter of fact, they got some seating outside so you can do a little eating under the sun. But again, see our good friends at Mondello's Pizzeria, the #1 pizza in Wyoming. Oh, by the way, at Mondello's. Again, beginning their 5th decade of business, 778-6068.
I wouldn't even say Wyoming. It's probably like the region, or at least this side of the Mississippi.
Well, it's top 10.
And I've been in Denver. I've been to Vegas. I've been on the coast and whatnot. Nothing beats it.
It's top 10 by the Food Network, folks. That tells you something.
There you go.
And we also want to thank all our good friends at Pepsi of Cheyenne. Scoreboard time. Do you have a scoreboard?
At least I have what's upcoming on the
scoreboard. We might have a scoreboard tomorrow, won't we?
Well, yeah, it'll be in action, especially as we'll have our first broadcast in quite some time, in a few months, since at least the closure of at least high school basketball here in the state of Wyoming, as we have partnered up with the Cheyenne Extreme. They will have a doubleheader coming up tomorrow. Yes, there are 20 games in the season, but we, at least, again, with COVID and everything, trying to figure out that fluctuating schedule, we now know it's kind of a finalized schedule that it works out with our broadcasting, or at least our capabilities. So, again, doubleheader coming up tomorrow here in town at Converse Softball Complex, as the Cheyenne Extreme will play host of the Garing Logos. 5 p.m. is the start time for game number 1. 6:45 is the tentative start time. Again, they have an hour and a half at least time limit for games. So, again, about 15 minutes for players to kind of warm back up or at least stretch. So, again, that is the tentative start time. So, all games are at least for the remainder of the season, as there's about 3 weekends remaining, 3 or 4. But for the Cheyenne Extreme, again, 1480 AM, 101.1 FM on the radio dial. 1480KRAE.com is where you can hear the audio, at least web stream, and video live streaming. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Again, we'll see what it is. It's our first venture into at least softball broadcasting. But again, video live streaming on Periscope, via Twitter, at Nick Wild Sports, and also too on the 1480KRAE YouTube channel. So looking forward to it. Again, it is our first games, our first broadcast in quite some time, and it's softball action with the Cheyenne Extreme.
Coming up after the break, we will chat with Cody Tucker, president and owner-operator of 7220sports.com, right after this here on 1480 KRAE.
I'm Nate.
And I'm Kate.
And we're not just literal taste buds. We're best buds.
And there's nothing that we love more than a
cool,
crisp,
deliciously refreshing Pepsi!
Sure, we live inside your mouth.
But that doesn't mean we don't enjoy the finer things.
Hey, Nate. Pepsi incoming!
Here it comes!
Tastes so good.
Tell me about it.
So,
amazing.
That's what I was thinking.
It's like we share the same mouth, Kate.
Forever and ever, Nate.
Make your taste buds happy and pick up a delicious, refreshing Pepsi.
Capital Lumber is #1 in Cheyenne. Are you listening? We're all the lumber store you'll ever need.
Since 1966, family-owned and operated Capital Lumber Company has been the stop for all lumber, paint, tools, accessories, remodel and do-it-yourself projects, and so much more. Now, Capital Lumber Company announces the beginning of a tasty relationship with Traeger Grills, as they now have in stock several models of Traeger Grills, along with pellets and accessories. Capital Lumber Company at 1222 Dunn Avenue in Cheyenne. Cheyenne Urological has been the cornerstone of urinary care to Cheyenne and its surrounding communities for over 30 years. With their fine expert doctors, along with their highly trained staff, they will provide top-quality treatment for prostate cancer, urinary tract infections, kidney stones, impotence, and incontinence. Cheyenne Urological is now offering cutting-edge robotic surgery. So call Cheyenne Urological at 635-4131 for compassionate, expert urinary care. That's 635-4131.
When you are dealing with the Coin Shop to buy, sell, or trade your gold, silver, or other precious metals, you will be met with honesty, fairness, knowledge, and exceptional customer service. The Coin Shop has been serving Cheyenne since 1982 and is a respected member of our community. Call David today at 778-7196 to meet privately or visit during regular business hours, Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 p.m. The Coin Shop, a dealer you can trust, 510 West 16th Street.
Would you rather walk across hot coals or have poison ivy everywhere? Some choices are a lose-lose, but it's all win-win at Taco John's. Choose 3 chicken street tacos or 3 chicken soft shell tacos for just $5. Taco John's. Bigger, bolder, better.
Our drive-thru is still open. Swing by for all your Taco John's favorites for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, or order delivery from participating locations with the Taco John's app.
For almost 60 years, 1480 KRAE has been Cheyenne's home for good times and great oldies. Add to that live play-by-play sports featuring high school football and basketball, along with LCCC men's and women's basketball. Now combo that with KYOY FM and you have Cheyenne and the area's only locally owned AM and FM radio stations. But we don't stop there. We also have 2 FM translators which serve the area with programming from both KRAE and KYOY. And that equals a lot of bang for your advertising dollar. Radio yesterday and now today, along with our websites, web streams, and digital ventures makes us your one-stop shop. For more information, please call Larry Proetti at 307-637-0301.
Here's the latest weather forecast on 1480 KRAE.
Weather-wise for today, mostly sunny. Expected daytime high of 74 with a pretty good chance for showers and afternoon thunderboomers. Tonight it's going to be partly cloudy with a chance for showers and evening thunderstorms, a low down to 46 degrees. Tomorrow, Tuesday, mostly sunny. Expected daytime high of 76 with a chance for showers and afternoon thunder. And for Tuesday night, mostly clear with a slight chance of showers and thunderstorm activity. Our low drop down to 49 degrees.
Here the season never ends. From Wyoming sports to the Broncos in Denver. From Rockies baseball to talking hoops with Nuggets basketball. Local, regional, and national. This is Wyoming Sports Talk Today, right here on AM 1480 KRAE.
Welcome back to Wyoming Sports Talk Today. We bring on our next guest, and again, a good friend of ours. We appreciate him coming in and chatting with us, and that's Cody Tucker, 7220sports.com.
In studio with us instead of the last time we talked with him was via Skype, so at least
I didn't see him. I was on the other side. But let me real quick, Cody, I'm going to open up the show because we were chatting off air, and you've done a really fantastic job with all of the former numbers worn by Wyoming Cowboy football players. But I wasn't in Wyoming. I lived in California at the time. But he was a great football player here at the University of Wyoming. Did his business with the Miami Dolphins, part of Butch and Sundance back in the day. But the passing of Jim Kick over the weekend, Alzheimer's at the age of 73. So again, with his mate, Larry Zonka, Football Hall of Famer, and then of course at the time. Later, when Mercury Morris came in, they started sharing time at that halfback position. Tell us a little bit on the thoughts on Jim Kick. Like I said, I don't know the time at the University of Wyoming.
Yeah, Jim was he was amazing at UW, and what a crazy story. He comes from New Jersey, literally hops on a train and comes out to Wyoming of all places, and gets off and does nothing but have a Hall of Fame career in Laramie. MVP of the Sun Bowl in 1966 when they beat Florida State. He helped lead the Cowboys to the Sugar Bowl against LSU. I don't believe he lost one game inside War Memorial Stadium. Won a couple WAC titles and was the first WAC player in history to earn first team nods 3 years in a row. So it just can't be understated or overstated enough how important Jim Kick was. And then, of course, like you said, he ends up going to Miami and he's smaller than Larry Zonka, but he's blocking for Larry Zonka. And then they bring in Mercury Morris. And I know we had Jim on the radio station I worked at a long time ago, and he was still pretty bitter about Don Shula. But unfortunately, his health, he took a lot of hits. And the sad part is we were supposed to go down to South Florida here in the next couple of months and interview him in his assisted living home he was in, and I was afraid something like
this
was
ironic, too. Don Shula passing away at age 90 back in May, and then you have the passing of Jim Kick. It's also interesting, too. Talk about the characters of the game. He was one of the characters. And matter of fact, and what I heard from people that I know here older said that he was quite the character at the University of Wyoming as well, too. I mean, he made his mark.
Yeah. I've been hearing he had a little side hustle going on there in the dorms, killing everybody in pool. So him and his fellow New Jersey guy, Vic Washington, apparently were pretty good there with the pool sticks. So
Vic Washington made his business with our 49ers.
Yep.
From Jersey, that kind of makes sense of him doing a little side hustle there.
Yeah, and I heard he was kind of popular with the ladies, too. I'm not 100% on
I'm sure the bar downtown has a lot of of stories that go way, way back.
Yep.
Yeah, without a doubt. But again, at least your list, again, as it brings back the history again for the likes of him, for me as well too. Where again, not that diehard Wyoming fan. Again, it has been addressed here that yes, again, as I'm learning the history of it, but it is fascinating to see who has been a part of it, or again, see what former athletes where it's not your career doesn't die at UW. There are other opportunities again for years past to move on, make a name, and again, be synonymous with UW football. So again, it is an awesome opportunity that you do at 7220sports.com for folks to tune in. But your list also too doesn't come without controversy, or at least from what I saw over the past weekend, where you had former players and some big names who are NFL stars and some former UW or at least current UW athletes had a little issue with some of the numbers, or at least some of the names you've been tossing out there on those lists. Talk a little bit about that, Cody.
So what's kind of funny is when you get in the business of doing lists, I wouldn't suggest it to a lot of people because you can't win in a lot of cases. For instance, number 84, everybody thinks Jay Novacek, slam dunk, right? Jerry DePoyster was my 1A and 1B with Jay Novacek because DePoyster was a second-round draft. He was a kicker, but he was a second-round draft pick and an All-American, two-time All-American. So I know a lot of people weren't happy with that. But what you're referring to is Sidney Malauulu. He took exception with some of my picks, and of course he picked his teammates, Carl Granderson and Johanna Gaffon,
and again, great athletes,
great players. But can you imagine if I picked those guys the way they left Laramie?
Yeah. Again,
you can't be the greatest.
You're
in my opinion,
you're going to brew up more controversy
right,
on that.
In my opinion, you cannot be the greatest ever when you go out like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they were great. And Johanna Gaffon, I tell you what, looking at his numbers, he would have been the best 93 in Wyoming history. He was trajecting that way. But, and then I look at Twitter and I see Brian Hills on there tweeting at me, and I'm thinking, oh, brother, what is this all about? And Rico Gafford, and they all started kind of getting together and disputing a lot of my picks, and I'm thinking, man, your team was full of the best players all time. Where's the championships? But I wasn't gonna go there.
You weren't gonna dig that low.
I'm glad that you brought up Jerry DePoyster because he was out at Rock Springs last time I saw Jerry, and he was actually doing some football for Rock Springs High School. Anybody that ever played with the Raiders, if you ever had the opportunity to chat with any of these guys, the stories they could tell you about those 60s and 70s Raiders, boy, you want to talk about a band of rogues.
Even the
owner. They were in Oakland. Even the owner. Oh, my gosh. Anyway, all of this information that you had, and I'm glad that you brought that up before we went on air. It's sad because a lot of the history is not there, or it's lost somewhere.
Right.
I'm sure if somebody really digs deep, they might find it, but you're not getting all the way back to, Buddy Oaks, so to speak. I mean, there's just not enough info.
Or at least those days when UW were playing, Cheyenne High School for football games.
Or when they shut down for the flu back in the early 1900s. But my point is, it's hard to get information. Where are you stuck at right now for football?
Yeah, it's not readily available, that's for sure. The rosters I'm working with are 70s on, and that makes it tough because there was a lot of football before the 70s and a lot of damn good football. So that makes it a little tough. I just finished number 97 today, so only a couple more of these left. But it is fun. It's a labor of love. I'll tell you that. It's a lot of work, but a lot of fun. And I think the reason that some of this past stuff gets neglected in the media, especially, is we see it all the time, guys. Every other year, somebody's leaving the newspaper. These guys are coming in as sports writers. They're here for a couple of years and they're gone, and they're using it as a stepping stone in some cases. So they don't really take the time to dig into the history and to get to know these guys. Like, I plan on being here forever. I'm a Cheyenne, Wyoming native. I didn't miss a game for 28 seasons at the war. So those names are important to me and big to me. And I was telling Sidney Malauulu, he said, well, how did you pick number 23? Because I said I'll fist fight somebody if they don't think Marcus Harris is number 23. And the same goes for Mitch Donahue at 49. And he asked me how I picked that. And I said, well, they kind of speak for themselves.
Yeah. Marcus Harris, who even me, I know that name, and it's very synonymous with Wyoming.
And what that showed me also, fellas, is that Wyoming has gone through so many coaches, too, throughout these years, that I don't think that these players are getting the history they should, the history lessons. And not to throw Elijah Halliburton under the bus, and that's not what I'm trying to do, but I asked him, do you understand the incredible safety play at this school? over the last even 10, 15 years.
Right.
And, yeah, I heard there were some good ones.
But you also look at the Paul Roach era in addition to followed up by Joe Tiller, where, again, the late Larry Corpitz, who was his offensive coordinator, the Marcus Harrises of the world, the Ryan Yarboroughs, Josh Wall, quarterback. You could throw out a lot of those names, and then you go to Paul Roach, where you had the Wizard of Ord, Randy Welniak, and again,
Sean Wiggins, Mitch Donahue.
Sean Wiggins, and Craig Burnett.
Yeah, Craig Burnett.
You look at all of these big names, and then again, a dean from Cheyenne, Wyoming. You look at Mitch Donahue, as you mentioned. That was football. Pretty much the 1960 era, where we were winning and having all this great success. But the late 80s, about through the mid 90s. That was a very important time in our history, too, for UW football.
Absolutely, because if you think about it, too, Larry, they just lost Dennis Erickson.
Yeah.
He boogied.
He was 6-6 and gone.
6-6 and gone overnight, didn't even pack his office up. Here comes Paul Roach, the AD at the time, and he stands in front of the team and goes, "Guys, I found you a new coach, and it's me." And I remember Mitch Donahue telling me, "Who is this old guy? Are you kidding me?" But he coached with Bart Starr in Green Bay. He coached with John Madden in Oakland. And those guys didn't know that, but they found out real quick because they were WAC champions by the end of the year, and they ended up playing in Holiday Bowls, and Copper Bowls, and that's back when they didn't hand out bowls like candy too.
Yeah.
So,
and you had staffs. Joe Tiller was your offensive coordinator. Yep. Del White was your defense coordinator. Yep. I mean, these were power pack teams, and again. With correct me if I'm wrong, with the Paul Roach era too, I think that's when we first had ESPN lights show up at UW.
Yep, absolutely. I want to say 88. They played BYU at night.
Yeah.
And, brought in the lights. That's big time, man. That sure wasn't going to happen in Laramie, so that was big time.
Go figure, Dennis Erickson leaving a program in shambles. Let's see, he's done that at Wyoming, Idaho, I think even with the San Francisco 49ers as well, too. Go figure. But, again, we talk on the local side with our high school, at least coaches, where, again, for Central and East, again, they got storied, at least, history with programs, whether it's football, basketball, and we talk with those head coaches where history, or at least look into those teams of past. Hey, we bring that up. We teach our athletes of what previous athletes do. Again, at Chinese, hey, this is what James Johnson was all about, and here's other athletes that have gone through our hallways and gone on to do bigger and better things. As you're talking, where hey, it's not, or at least that history's kind of lost, so to speak, somewhere in the vine over there at UW. And again, whether it is on the football program, basketball, but in your opinion, where again you look to that past, and again you know what these athletes have done, and again what they brought to the table, at least bring recognition to the state of Wyoming and UW athletics. In your opinion, Cody, is that something that Coach Craig Bull or again others there at UW should be focusing on, or at least take some time to say, hey, let's acknowledge those 80s, 70s, 60s players who have come through these hallways just like you, that went on and were a part of the Miami Dolphins, again, where he now stamps his name in history of being the only undefeated team in Super Bowl history.
Well, and I think, yes, to a degree. I mean, obviously that doesn't need to be the main focus.
I'm going to kind of disagree with that statement. Go ahead.
Yeah, but so for instance, I talked to Bart Miller, our current offensive line coach, and I said, how would you like to have Conrad Dobler, I have his contact. How would you like Conrad Dobler to come in and talk to your offensive line? I mean, talk about a guy with swagger and toughness. And he said absolutely.
And reputation.
And he said absolutely. And why? I don't know if coaches are using it as much in recruiting, because I don't even know if these guys know who anybody is anymore. I mean, Josh Allen, obviously, but who else?
But on the college side, though, Nick, and this is where I kind of disagree with you, college is 4 years, you're gone. Yep. Okay? Cheyenne, Wyoming, where you went to East, Central, South, and Nick Proetti was great in basketball, on those championship teams of 1990, 91, and you still live here and you work, you own your own business, whatever the case may be. People can relate to that. You're still a name here in our community. In Laramie, they're there for 4 years and then bang, zoom, they're gone. Some go to the NFL. Some, their careers don't go that far. But coaches, they're probably more of the name recognition than anything. Again, passing to Joe Tiller. A lot of people knew Joe Tiller, but
also too, you can't deny that some the USC's, Miami's of the world don't address, or at least again where you look at some of these locker room or at least some of these stadium tours, whether it is at Miami, Texas. Again, they have those wings, they have those areas to dedicate to those who've come through those programs. Where hey, let's look at what this person has done, whether it is on
they got Heisman trophies there too.
Yeah, without a doubt. But again, we've had, again, as you talk, Marcus Harris, we've had names here at Laramie, Wyoming, come through those hallways, play on that field, and go on and do bigger and better things that promoted University of Wyoming.
And maybe they're starting to do that because I know you guys have been over there. They have the huge murals of Josh Allen now. He's obviously a guy, recency, of course, and a guy who's doing it on Sundays. That a lot of quarterbacks are going to want to come to UW right now. So they got to kind of strike while the iron's hot kind of thing. But you talked about coaches. Who wouldn't want to come to Wyoming? You know, you're talking Pat Dye and Joe Tiller and Fred Akers. Hey, why don't you come to Wyoming? Look at all these guys that have gone through the doors here.
Yeah, and again, you even threw Dennis Erickson out there too.
Right.
You know, I mean,
he won
look
a
at
national title.
Yeah, but look at the reputation that you know
he's got a sour reputation with me. But
let me ask you this question, Cody. Let's keep it on UW football right now too. The scoop. What's going on at UW right now? Obviously, hopefully, you and me and Nick, we're going to be over there first part of August. So that's traditionally when the media gets together, and that's like the opening of summer camp. Where are we at?
You know, they don't really know. That's the easiest way to answer it. I know last week we got word that they tested 166 players for coronavirus and nobody came back positive, which was great. They did their second round of testing later last week, and we haven't heard anything yet. So I don't really know what to make of that, and I don't want to speculate on it. But they don't really know either. It's a big, weird waiting game that the entire country's playing. But I know the 6-week reopening process. I spoke with Tom Berman last week. And that process is something he is fully behind, which means early July they're going to be doing the actual workouts, and then they're going to get into some mini camp stuff, and then they're going to get into the big shebang August 6th, I believe it is. So that's the plan, and they're also planning on having people in the stadium. They're planning on season ticket holders getting first dibs, obviously. And then they typically have about 3,000 students at the games. They're talking about half that right now. And what the hope is that each week it can grow. And, of course, this would happen when Wyoming's got the best home schedule they've had in God knows how long. Plus, if you think about it, these home teams aren't going to care about visiting fans. How big of a boost is that every year when Wyoming plays in Fort Collins and half the stadium's Wyoming fans? It's probably not going to happen this year.
Well, as we see how things are at least moving, and it fluctuates day by day, and even looking to the pros where, hey, we got this announcement that this NFL team has got this outbreak, or NBA right now has an outbreak, or again, you're seeing that, right now. There is not a guarantee that sports will happen on the pro side and even collegiate. Again, we're still up in the air here on the local side with LCCC, where hopefully we will have soccer, we will have volleyball and basketball, but it is not a guarantee right now. But from what you see and what UW is doing in the Mountain West Conference in general right now, do you feel confident that, yes, no matter what, we are having UW football, whether it's just all home games at War Memorial Stadium, or do you feel like it'll be abbreviated season? What's kind of your thoughts, though?
I want to think that they're going to be a full go, and I know that's Tom Berman's hope. But like you said, it fluctuates every day. So some days I find myself getting a little nervous and a little scared, especially for us who own businesses that depend on football seasons. Yeah. It's pretty darn important. So, and Wyoming took the lead on this thing. Wyoming had, was the first school to say, "Come on back." Wyoming's been pretty good with this whole thing. I think 20 deaths, which obviously one death's too many, but 20 deaths, and they're really doing a good job over there. The one thing I asked Tom Berman is a lot of these players, as you guys know, were involved in those protests and stuff in Laramie, and I wondered if their quarantine clock would have to start over since they obviously weren't quarantining and walking in the streets. He said no. But they've all raved. Kevin McKinney, all of them have raved about how good this team and how responsible they've been about wearing masks and staying in their rooms and being low key right now.
What are your thoughts as well too, as we saw at least about a month or so ago, where you saw the state of California, or at least those state institutions, come out and say, we're not playing football, we're done. Yep. And it looked like it was going to affect, or at least it seems like it's going to affect San Diego State, San Jose State. So again, teams, Fresno State as well too. So there's 3 teams right there in the Mountain West Conference that are now going to sit out after that decision out there that, hey, we're not playing football this season. Does that kind of worry you that it could be in an abbreviated Mountain West Conference schedule, or what's going to happen with that situation now?
Well, it's weird. I asked Tom Berman about that as well, and he said those California schools are planning on playing. Is the last he's heard on it. Wyoming only has San Diego State on the schedule. So, but, obviously a lot of other teams have 2 or all 3 of those teams on the schedule. So, what do you do? I don't know, and I don't think anybody does at this point. But what do you do if you're a San Diego State player? I mean, do you want to get let out of your scholarship maybe? if you're not playing
Can you
this year.
enter the transfer portal
and play right away? I mean, I think if I'm at San Diego State right now, I'm a little terrified.
What about the head guy at the University of Wyoming? Talk about Craig Bohl. I mean, obviously, we sit here and Craig and I are about the same age, and we say, gosh, I thought we seen it all, but, there's more that has developed this year alone. How is he preparing? Because he doesn't know either. I mean, I've got my game plan here, but like you said, I could tear a piece of paper off here and say, that's not going to happen. I mean, how is he preparing for this season?
Well, I think we all know Craig's old school, and he's not changing his stripes. The plan this year, whether it starts on time, finishes on time, is what he's going to do. He doesn't make any bones about it. They're going to run the ball and run the ball again and play good defense and run the ball again. And I don't know how much you have to prepare for that. He knows the players he has in place already. The Cowboys are returning a ton of talent, a ton of experience from last year. So I think that helps too, that you're not having to ingrain a bunch of new kids that don't, this isn't their first rodeo, and I think that's a good thing. But he's a creature of habit.
You made a good point there, running. And again, we used to be quarterback you, wide receiver you.
Yep.
As and I mentioned with Ryan Yarborough, Marcus Harris. You go even latter here with Mulhart, Gentry, and
Bo
Jacob
Knight.
Hollister.
Yeah.
You look at again. We've had great hands that been able to play at the University of Wyoming, as you mentioned, Wiggins and Tommy Kirkpatrick back in the day.
Yeah.
So I throw this out to you: if I'm a wide receiver at whatever high school right now, and I'm, garnering about 30 catches a season, and here comes UW knocking on my door, I'm kind of second-thoughting this, like, no, you guys had Rocket Ismail's son. I don't think I don't think I really want to go there. You don't throw the ball, and Sean Chambers is back.
Yeah, it's a great question, and you have every right to ask it. I ask myself the same thing. Do you want to come here and block for 4 years? Theoretically, though, guys, they did get some guys out of Texas, some recruits out of Texas, and Bohl mentioned that they needed to get bigger. They needed to get way taller on the outside. All those guys you mentioned, like Rocket and Austin Conway and John Akwali, they all look the same. They're all about 6 foot tall. They're all way about the same. They all have about the same skill set. Now they got guys who can go up and get it. When you have a quarterback that's not as accurate, and the way the Cowboys were able to run the ball last year, imagine if they had even kind of a passing game. They would have been deadly. And
if you had that trio of receivers that Josh Allen had, that could have been potentially, again, Mountain West Conference championship team.
Yeah, I mean, when you run the ball like that, you should expect to be able to throw. And if you can complete 50% of your passes, you're going to win a lot of games because you're taking care of the clock. They are absolutely taking care of the clock, running the ball the way they do. And you would think some wide receivers would be open, very open.
You would hope so, especially seeing some of the defenses, especially where you shouldn't be, or at least that close to an Idaho team that plays in the Big Sky Conference who had to drop down from D1 football. But
in Boise State, that brings up the point of that Boise State game. I thought the play calling at the end of that game was hideous. There was 10, 11 guys in the box, that crowd going ballistic, and you're on a 4th and 3 and you run it up the gut.
Yeah.
That is just not going to work.
Now that's where calls for the offense coordinator's head was coming out fast and furious.
You've been doing that for years now. But
I've never been a fan of Brett Vegan, and I'm going to tell you that right now. I still am not.
Yeah. As we look towards at least the potential season, here we are late June, we are just a few weeks away from potential start of football season here in the Cowboy State with the University of Wyoming for the Mountain West Conference in whole. And again, we'll include those state schools out there in California. If they're committed to play, we'll include them into this situation. Are the Cowboys one of those top favorite teams right now to potentially play in the Mountain West Conference Championship? Or who are the teams right now on both the Mountain and West sides that UW and the rest of the fans need to kind of keep an eye out for?
Well, guys, it's usually the easy answer to that is Boise State and everybody else. But I think the gap might be closing a little bit on that. Boise State was probably the least impressive 2-loss team I've ever seen in my life last year. But they're a winning team. They know they find a way to do it.
They did beat Florida State on the road. That was
They did. Yeah. They did. We found out who Florida State was pretty quick, but it is still a big win. I'll give that to them. But now I think the gap's closing a little bit. And like we talked about, if they can run the ball and control the clock and play good defense like they always do, who knows? And you know what? Last year we went into the season going, what's the weaknesses of this team? It's got to be the line of scrimmage. Has to be. Instead, those were two gigantic bright spots, and every one of those guys is coming back on both lines. So you can control the clock, you can control the time in everything in the game, and you don't turn the ball over like Craig Bohl's teams don't. You're going to give yourself a shot. So I have no doubt that Wyoming's going to get some selections. Maybe not at number 1, but number 2 right there behind Boise. And Boise comes to War Memorial Stadium this year. Will there be any fans in the stands? Which does make a difference.
Yeah, and again, you look at Utah State's going to have a hell of a drop off. CSU still kind of that rebuilding mode. New Mexico, who knows?
Air Force is always going to be there.
Well, Air Force is going to. They intrigue me because they're going to be seniors this year. That sophomore team from 2 years ago, they're seniors. But again, too, if you can stop the flex bone, boom, you usually win.
And coming to Laramie.
Yeah. I was thinking of you before you came on the program today, because you always have a chance to talk to the former Cowboys that now have moved on to that next level. And, we all think of Josh Allen, but the year before him was Jacob Hollister, who got drafted by New England or signed a free agent with New England, and now has since moved on to Seattle. And then I think back to that 49er game where he gets stopped at the 1 yard line. I guess my question is to you, Cody, Jacob Hollister, his career in the NFL. It looks like he's found a home at Seattle. Russell Wilson really likes to throw the football to him. How good can Jacob Hollister be at that professional level?
Boy, when you watch him, you think this could be a 10-year guy. I mean, you really do. And I know Bill Belichick didn't want to get rid of him. It was one where he kind of got his hand forced a little bit. And now you bet he's wishing he was there. Yeah. No Gronkowski anymore. Not that Hollister's in that category yet. But he's that perfect Craig Bohl kind of guy. He can block, he can catch. He's just fundamentally sound. And he was a JUCO guy. He was totally underlooked. Always has that chip on his shoulder, and that's the one thing about Craig Bohl's guys. I don't know right offhand how many guys he's put in the NFL just in his time at Wyoming, but it's been impressive, and it's a lot of guys that didn't have stars coming out.
And the list continues to grow.
I was going to say, your biggest one is now a big-time celebrity right now in the NFL, that being Josh Allen, where, again, he was overlooked and said, hey, UW gave me that opportunity, and he made the most of it, and now look what he's doing right now on the grandest stage.
Not a lot of scouts head to Fireball, California, that's for sure.
Well, and there's what I believe 18 active Wyoming Cowboys in the NFL right now. Yeah. That's second behind Boise State. Says a lot.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
We must be doing something right out in this part of the world to at least get those athletes to that next level. So, but again, this will be my final question on the football topic, at least regarding UW, and then we'll eventually get in talking about the celebration that you got upcoming here in the month of July, which, again, very exciting for happening over in Laramie. But, if everything goes according to plan, or at least, again, if we have limited fans, but, hey, UW plays games. Again, it's a full schedule, even non-conference and conference. And, we have a Mountain West Conference championship. UW and other teams are bowl eligible. Do you foresee that we're going to have bowl games this season, again, in those kind of remote areas, or is it something that, hey, as we're seeing here in the state of Wyoming, kind of on Legion baseball, softball, hey, it's pretty much here's your state championship, and that's all you got. There's no national anything like that. Is that a possibility that you could see that, hey, you win the Mountain West championship, and that's all you got?
I think the TV money's so big, because nobody's selling out bowl games except for the big ones. So maybe they have to play the bowl game at War Memorial Stadium in December.
Too, yeah.
And TV doesn't care. And talk about people showing up. I mean, if they can, they will. But the TV, also think about this, guys. You can't get into the game. There's going to be a lot of eyes on those televisions. Yeah. A ton of eyes. And sports bars, if you can go in, at that time, they're going to be essential employees, as well as we are, fellas.
Yeah. Now, let me ask this question before you go into the 7220. But my question is, Nick brought this up earlier. Is college kind of waiting on the NFL? Because again, Fauci has said baseball, you can't go any further than mid-October. You can't go into November. And I came back
I think he said that NFL shouldn't even. He's recommending that NFL shouldn't even go.
I came on that program and said, at that time we're into the heart of the NFL. Yeah. So if this knucklehead back east is saying this. Mm-hmm. Is college going to wait on the NFL? And they got camp starting here in July.
They do. I hope so for that reason, because they have been kind of proactive about, so far we're going to go. But I think college may be saved a little bit too, because if you think about it, guys, college towns are not New York City and not L.A. for the
They're-
most part. You
yeah.
know, they're almost their own little cities inside of those big cities at times. But a lot of these are small, towns or smaller towns. Even East Lansing, Michigan, where I was, that's its own place. The MSU campus is its own place. So I think as long as it's not crazy and rampant, and I think they'll adjust accordingly. But how weird will it be if, like, you have a quarterback who's a Heisman hopeful and they're like, well, quarantine for 14 days, you got to miss 2 games. That's going to be brutal.
It's going to be very interesting. And also, too, you're talking about a lot of these colleges and college towns where, we even talked with Jeff Linder, I think even more so with Tom Berman saying, hey, with the miss of March Madness, that was a big chunk of change that the entire NCAA is now missing out on, where, you have schools that, rely on those funds in some way, shape, or form, or at least athletic programs that depend upon that.
Most of the Mountain West.
Yeah, without a doubt. So you wonder if almost their hands are kind of forced due to the economic side of, hey, we need to get out there. We need those television monies.
Do.
We need that.
They do, and Tom makes no bones about it. Not to mention, Tom's very obviously very aware of what the energy sector is doing in the state of Wyoming right now, and he understands that is so big right now that is going to – the trickle-down is always going to go to UW, and he knows it. So they need some butts in the seats, and he's even said we can't even afford to play without 30% of the stands filled. 30% is not that much in Laramie. And he's talked about having sections where you have to have a mask on, you have to be 6 feet apart for those who are not, our older fans that want to go to games still, which are a lot of season ticket holders.
Right.
You wonder if it'd be like where we talked with Casper Horseheads, Western Nebraska Pioneers owner, where hey, we're expanding that at least capacity to put a little bit more,
you can't
but still
expand
under
War
that.
Memorial though.
You could probably add those grandstands or find something like that.
Not
those
whole seats.
I
think they did that for the Texas game where they brought in those
Nebraska
bleacher
too.
seats. Yeah.
Oh, again, it's getting kind of tight out, especially on that west side.
I full-heartedly believe that we'll find something creative like that. Of like, we're under the 30%. We're at the 30% capacity, but we may have added more seats possibly to our range. But again, hopefully in due time we'll be able to have UW football and see a Mountain West Conference schedule and just see those athletes at UW, and again, hopefully fans, whether it is 30% or 100% fill at War Memorial Stadium, hopefully that is a reality coming up here very shortly. But coming up very soon, it's something that you put on, and again, it's a brilliant idea where even for me, I was like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. July 2nd, it is the year 2020, so 7-2-2-2 that makes 72-20.
Yep.
You are holding a nice little celebration over in the Gym City over there in Laramie, Wyoming.
Yep.
Talk a little bit about that and how fans can go over and attend.
Yeah, absolutely. It's obviously we thought about it. It was one of those weird things when we were launching this site. I thought, that's weird. It's going to be 72-20 next year. And then I said, it's on a Thursday. That's right by the 4th of July. It's in Laramie. And then I thought, man, and then when coronavirus hit, I'm like, oh, yeah, this ain't going to happen. But we've partnered over there with the Library Sports Grill and Bar. We haven't heard yet, but today we're supposed to hear if Laramie is going to allow them to shut down the road. That is the plan, to shut down 2nd Street and turn it into a party, because talk about an economy that just took a beat down. You lose 13,000 students overnight. That hurts, especially in a town that thrives on bars and restaurants. So they're going to try and shut down the road. A lot of other bars have got in on this thing to where they're going to sell beer out there in the street. They're going to have bands. At first, this just started with there's maybe going to be 30 of us upstairs at the library, and now it is just boomed. And I even got an email from the Holiday Inn over there, and they want in on this too. They said, why the hell are you not having your party at the 7220 Lounge? And I said, well, where's that? Said it's at the Holiday Inn, so we're going to have a pre-party at the Holiday Inn from 3 to 6, and they have blocked off a bunch of hotel rooms. They want people to stay. They've given them a really good rate and a free drink ticket, so they even have a hangover menu the next day. So should be a lot of fun. We got some former players. Jeff Boyle, for instance, is coming all the way from Kansas City. We got guys coming from Texas. We have a lot of old players, current players, old coaches, current coaches that are going to be in attendance as well. So.
And it's needed too, because we had the situation here on Snyder Avenue over the weekend, and of course, Laramie Jubilee Days, like Frontier Days.
Yeah.
gone. Laramie needs something like that. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Well, and again, as we talk about, it is kind of tough economic times right now for folks who are interested of participating in this and going over and again just being a part of a special celebration coming up on July 2nd here, 2020. Is there an entry fee? Is there a cost associated with all of this? Is it pretty much of just, hey, you just go to the bar, pay for your drink, and that's all you got to worry about?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. We're not doing any entrance fee. It's basically a chance for Laramie and for Wyoming and Wyoming fans to just come hang out and feel normal for a night. Opening the street will help a lot because you can have 250 people in a gathering, and 250 people are not going to fit in the library, especially with the parameters that the CDC has put in. So we need the street, basically, and we're supposed to hear. And, boy, wouldn't that be sad if Laramie turns that down and doesn't let people go in the street and have a good time.
Yeah, we don't want your money.
Yeah, when Laramie is Laramie flatlined, and they're not afraid to admit it. Most people over there, they know they're in trouble. So it's just a good way it's a good way to give back. I mean, not necessarily monetarily, and nobody wants to come see me, but it's, let's all have fun.
The business owners really would love to see people, just come on out even for a one-night showing. And,
let's just have fun.
And I'm sure the Laramie PD would be more than happy to throw a couple, 3 people. They've been kind of quiet there, too.
Yeah,
So
they were happy to throw me in jail once. I remember that.
For folks who are interested in this, at least party happening very soon, where can they find more information about it?
Yeah, on our Facebook page is the main thing. We have a big landing page there that gives you all the details, where you need to get a hotel and all that, where and when and why and all that good stuff. So we're just excited to, the response has been insane. People are sick of being home. They are absolutely sick of being home. Plus, guys, there's a thing. When you're in Wyoming, and especially if you went to the university, it's almost like you got to make that trek back as much as possible. And I've heard that a lot from people that, they consider Laramie, Wyoming's hometown. They want to go to Laramie. There's no better place in the summer than Laramie, Wyoming. So they want to go back to Laramie and have a good time and run into some former players and stuff and get the nostalgia stuff going on. And I'm excited about that too. I'm excited to see old players and, shoot the breeze and get to know these guys.
I was going to say, that's a Wyoming thing. I don't feel like the need to go back to Moscow, Idaho, go to the University of Idaho at any point in time. But
only 5 people would remember you.
About that.
Let me ask you this question, and I'm going to throw it out. What has a better shot at playing this year, football or basketball?
Well, you'd probably say basketball, right? Because it's happening later, October, November. We'll know more by then. I just don't know, man. And we're so insulated in Wyoming that you sometimes forget about the rest of the world's issues. That we have a team on our schedule from Las Vegas, San Diego, Albuquerque. We don't deal with a lot of the same issues a lot of the country deals with. So sometimes you forget about that and go, why aren't we playing? What's the problem, man? Like, we're fine here. We're fine, but
as we talk
not
with
fine otherwise.
Well, you got teams that got to fly into DIA and bus up. Right. That's even more intriguing because we were talking with Coach Quigley from Cheyenne South, where he just came back from Florida.
Yeah.
And he said, it was nice being on a plane. There was nobody on it, and there was no lines. So, again, it's just interesting to see what's – I hope everything goes back to, we restart. Can't use the word normal. We'll never be normal again. But if we can restart, it has to start with football.
Well, something you said I totally agree with. I think everybody's so hopped up on politics and the stuff going on in the world right now. We need some damn games. We need some games. We just need to
get out and breathe some fresh air and have a hot dog, a beer, bag of popcorn.
Yeah, quit with the politics. I tell people, and they get kind of upset sometimes. I say we're a site that loves to stick to sports. I'm all about shutting up and dribbling myself because I don't get in that. I don't get in that pond. So let's have fun. Let's get some games going again. Like I told you, I was watching NASCAR today. I've never watched NASCAR in my life. My wife even said, "Are you watching this on purpose, or are you half taking a nap?" I'm like, "I'm watching this."
So it's something to enjoy.
And a friend of mine told me today, he goes, hey, last night I watched the Giants and the Rockies from 2017. I said, I don't want to hear it no more. I don't care. We already know how the game ended. We already know who won.
Again,
I don't care. Give me the real game.
It's kind of the same with the Cowboy capsules where, again, I get it, but it's, again, we're showing a game that happened like last year, 2 years ago. It's like.
The cool part is they have players that are in there talking to the guys. So that kind of helps because you get the access to the guy. But I'm with you. I haven't watched one Cowboy capsule. Maybe because I've watched the Wyoming, Missouri game about 40 times on my own.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely, it was great, but definitely don't need to watch it again.
Yeah, I might as well watch more reruns of 2.5 Men. Okay, I mean, I don't need to watch
go
it
outside,
again.
especially in this state. Go outside, go support American Legion, go watch the softball. We have games actually, happening, and again, they matter towards something as well too.
And how cool that they have softball. I hope baseball soon to follow. I would have given anything to put on a Central Indians baseball jersey growing up. That would have been the greatest.
Baseball will never happen.
You don't think ever?
No, I don't think it'll ever happen. At least as long as I'm here, I don't think
as
it's
we
gonna
keep
happen.
on at least keeping you here, and again, we appreciate you sticking the
Yeah,
whole
yeah,
way
yeah.
through. At least you talk baseball. We at least the recent announcement again. I think months ago, Boise State saying, "Hey, we're committed to bring back baseball." Go Wyoming, bring back baseball.
Well, they're just with the financial climate right now. No way. And that wasn't really in the cards anyway. Plus, they would have to add softball.
Well,
add
but
another
baseball,
female sport.
back in the day, Nick, and matter of fact, I actually did some baseball with them. You got to remember, in their time, their first 23, 26 games, they're on the road. They can't play at UW. And April and May, that's a crapshoot playing over there at Cowboy Field.
They need a big booster to come in and go, hey, here's a multi-purpose indoor retractable roof softball, baseball complex. That would be awesome.
And you're right, too, because with Title IX, I don't know. As a matter of fact, I think baseball had to go because of Title IX issues.
Yeah, it did.
And again, I don't think baseball – if UW brings baseball back, then you got a very outside shot at high schools, but I just don't see it coming back. Once it was axed, it was gone.
It's hard to see so many great baseball players, especially Cheyenne's a great baseball town. Believe it or not, with this beautiful physique, I actually got a baseball scholarship. So I would have given anything to play for the University of Wyoming, along with so many. And I'm not saying like maybe Brandon Nimmo would have went to UW, but who knows? I mean, who knows? There's been some dudes from Wyoming that you hate to see go. And I think about a guy like Jeff Houston all the time. How crappy would that be your team's gone?
Yeah,
the team you played in college for, they're gone. You don't have anybody to root for anymore.
Same with Art Howe. I
Yeah.
mean, you know, the late Art Howe, where, he plays at UW, goes on. He wasn't a great baseball player, with Houston, but ended up being, more of a good manager than he was. He was an average baseball player.
And
He's not going to be in the Hall of Fame.
He came on a football scholarship.
Yeah, isn't that amazing, too?
Yeah.
So, final thing, and again, we appreciate you joining us,
heck yeah.
Cody. Again, I love our talks, talking UW, or again, just various things with you.
Sports in
Absolutely.
Feels good.
Want to get you at least this opportunity again, as we, we're feeling the economic side. You are as well too, with what is happening here in the state of Wyoming, again across the entire world. But notice that you have some fresh merch over there. Again, if folks want to, again, obviously go tune in on your social media sites, go like and follow 7220 Sports. Again, go support the website, but also it seems like you got brand new T-shirt and merch for folks to kind of sport around this Cowboy State too.
Yeah, and who would have thought? I talked to a marketing guru, and they were like, "You need to come out with a clothing line." And I'm thinking, "Are you kidding? Like, come on, that ain't gonna work." But thank God,
Website designer, fashion designer. Love it.
Well, thank God I have such great partners at Hometown Printed Apparel in Douglas, because they said, "Hey, let's do it." And the next day, he had over 19, 20 shirts, coffee mugs, masks, the whole nine.
So you need the mask.
Yeah, and he sold 100 shirts within 3 days and got himself so backed up that he's like, man, I'm going to be pissing off a lot of people because they paid for 2 days and I'm nowhere near. So, but what an unbelievable amount of support we've gotten. I can't even believe 100 shirts, including, I know he probably wouldn't want me to say this, but Sean Chambers' dad bought 11 shirts and is going to, when we get them, we are going to hand them out to active military members at F.E. Warren Air Force Base, which is what he wanted to do. So
that's awesome.
And
yeah,
again,
it's been cool.
The other cool thing, as you mentioned, again, locally out of Douglas, or at least keeping it here in the Cowboy State, as we keep it in-house as well, too, here in the city of Cheyenne. But again, you keep it where, hey, your advertisers, or at least those opportunities here in the Cowboy State. So again, applaud you for that as well.
Oh, and it's probably illegal to say this, but I plan on hiring Wyoming people, doing every bit of business in Wyoming with Wyoming people. So if you're from Colorado, no need to apply.
I don't think they would.
Yes, I'm pro Wyoming.
If you're from Fort Collins, especially.
Yeah, not welcome.
All right, Cody. Hey, always a pleasure talking to you. Thank
thanks,
you for
Larry.
joining us today.
Thanks,
We
Nick.
had a wonderful chat with you. Again, also earlier we had Curtis Quigley in, the new softball coach at South High School. So we want to thank him. We're going to wrap up the program right now. We're going to say adios, Nick, because I know you got a big break to catch up on here.
Yeah.
So do you want to do on this date in history?
Yeah, we'll keep Cody in for this one as well. Again,
right.
we stumped at least, I think, Adam Galicia last week. We'll see if we can stump him on this one. It is June 22nd. We'll go back to the year 1937.
Stumped.
Again, if you saw this movie, you would understand. I'm trying to think of at least the name of it. But at least a former arena is named after what this guy did for the first time in his career. The Red Wings used to play here.
Joe Louis.
Who did he defeat today for his first heavyweight title?
Well, it wasn't Max Schmeling because he had
a movie was made about this man around this time.
Sonny Liston?
No. Jack Tunney?
No. How about James J. Braddock?
I would have never.
Sure.
Cinderella Man is the movie.
Oh, okay, yeah, I was on.
How much was that on pay-per-view?
Pennies.
Another one of them. 2.5 Men beats that one too.
Hey, Cinderella Man's not a bad movie.
Yeah, right. All right. Well, we got to wrap things up here again. Cody, thanks so much.
Thank you,
Nick. Pay the bills because